Okay, hello and welcome to our cooking class this evening. Today we're doing our TM6 highlights class where we try and show off as many of the functions of the TM6 model as we can. There's actually too many to show in this class, but if you want past recordings of other ones, we've got them up and you can see other things that we do as well. Just to let you know, if you could please stay on mute this evening until the very end, you'll have a chance to come off mute and ask us questions at that point in time. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please just put them in the chat. There's a few of us consultants here tonight who'll love to help you with whatever questions you have, so don't be shy about that. And the other thing is tomorrow I'll send out the recording. So if you miss anything from tonight or if you want to share it with anyone, you'll be able to get that recording in the email that you registered with for this evening. And I'll put in the links to the recipes as well. So that will all be coming to you. So to begin tonight, yeah, just a little bit about the Thermomix. A lot of people invest in the Thermomix to save time, to save money, to make healthy dishes for the family, or also just to be creative and have some fun in the kitchen. It's great for people who don't know how to cook, but it's also great for people who love to cook and want to do more gourmet things. It just suits everyone depending on where you're at. And we have a good mixture between us here this evening on the class. My name's Laura Jacobson. I'm the team leader for the Thermomix team that's kind of in the Hills and Hawkesbury area. But to start off with, I'm going to introduce you to Yolanda, who is an expert in all things food. So we look to her for guidance. And she's going to show us how to make a dough using the knead function of the Thermomix, which is just awesome.
So now you're scaring me when you call me an expert, Laura. Look, it's true. I have had a career in the food industry for more than 35 years, something that I've really loved. I've been a product developer and worked with food science and technology. And I stumbled into Thermomix about 5 years ago as a consultant, and I have absolutely loved it. And I've learned a lot along the way and made a lot of friends. So I love helping out on classes, and I hope you enjoyed this tonight. We're going to swap between me and Laura a little bit because my recipe does have a long kneading step and there's no point you sitting there watching the Thermomix just knead. So let's get started. We're going to make Parmesan and rosemary buns. I found this recipe on Cookie Doo and I cooked it last week on a Friday for a cooking experience for a beautiful lady. And I was so happy with the result of these buns. I suggested I make them tonight. I hope you can see my screen. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start the recipe. We've been asked for Parmesan cheese, 50 grams, cut into cubes. When you are chopping something hard like Parmesan cheese, do make sure it is chopped into little chunks like this so that you can get a nice even chopping of Thermomix. We'll pop the lid on. We also need to add some fresh rosemary. So I've just taken some there out of my garden, just the leaves only. I'll pop that in. And then if I follow the recipe, it tells me to insert the measuring cap into the mixing bowl lid, which I've now done. Straight up to speed 10 for 10 seconds, and that will grate our cheese and chop our rosemary to make a beautiful aromatic grated cheese crumble. So 10 seconds have passed and I can already smell how wonderful this is. You can see how finely grated that is, how quick that was in 10 seconds. All the rosemary is grated through the cheese. Put that into a bowl and set it aside. Using this guy, Flex Core spatula. It's a really nice long-handled slim one for cleaning the bowl. You can get them at the mix shop and I do find it very, very handy. I do use the regular spatula as well, but I like this Flex Core spatula for clearing the bowl. So there's our cheese and our rosemary. I'll just set that aside. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 200 grams of water. Because we're working with dough, try and be very accurate with the level of water and flour that you add. It will affect how wet your dough is. And
the scales on the TM6, one of the things I love about the TM6 is our scales weigh down to 1 gram of accuracy. So provided we pour nice and slowly, we can measure very accurately how much water we're adding. I am using room temperature water as well in this instance. Now we're going to add a little bit of milk. We want 60 grams of milk. So same thing there, it's another liquid, so try and be accurate with your measure. There we go. And now 1 tablespoon of sugar. I'm going to use just raw sugar. The reason for the sugar is to feed our yeast. We want our yeast to grow quickly and it needs a food source to do that. The next thing we're going to add is 1.5 teaspoons of dried yeast. This one here, I just buy it in the supermarket. I keep it in my fridge and it has been an absolutely wonderful thing to have in the house during this lockdown process because I have baked so much bread and so many different types. It's been absolutely wonderful. All right, so now we're going to put the measuring cap into the mixing bowl lid, pop that on. And now we're going to just warm up our 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, 37 degrees, just mixing nicely the water, the yeast, the milk, and the sugar, just to activate the yeast. So as I said earlier, I've been loving being able to bake at home, especially during lockdown. We can't get to the shops easily. So something like bread is really only nice fresh. So I've been making so many varieties. And the funny thing is, my surname is actually Baker, and I've been baking more now than I ever have in my life. And it's been great. I've made sourdough and pizza and filled pizzas, calzones, naan bread, empanadas. We've made lots of sourdough. We've made focaccias, garden focaccias, beautifully decorated. I don't know if I said naan bread, pizza, scrolls, Turkish bread, flatbread, roti. We've also made some sweetbreads, like some cinnamon scrolls with honey butter. So it's been wonderful to be able to bake. And when your Thermomix is mixing your dough for you, it really is taking the hard work out of bread making. So if you can buy yourself a 5 kilo bag of bread flour and just have it in your house, if you've got your yeast here as well, it's very easy to quickly make a dough. The rolls we're doing today actually do have quite a long kneading stage, longer than most breads. I think it's about 4 minutes. Most breads are about 2 minutes normally. But what I loved about these rolls, they were very fluffy and very soft. And they do have the Parmesan cheese on top, but also the Parmesan with Rosemary's in the dough. So I've made bread rolls before, but these are definitely very fluffy and I was amazed how good they were. My son loved them, my husband loved them, so I'm not unhappy to be making them again tonight. We're going to look forward to eating those later. If you are making something like a pizza dough and you don't need 2 full-size pizzas, you can actually halve your dough and freeze the other half. So mix the dough, let it rise. When it's finished rising, bake 1 lot and the other lot, pop it in your freezer and then defrost it when you want it. And then you've got a dough ready to go. It saves a lot of time. That's a good thing to do. And the same with naan bread. The naan bread recipe makes quite a large batch of naan if you only want half as much. Then let the dough rise, freeze it, and then tuck it away, and then you're ready to go. We've got a few seconds to go. This recipe does say to oil a bowl and put your dough into the bowl. You can also use a Thermomix thermomat. This guy, you can buy it at the mix shop, but you can also get it as a host reward. The new ones now have beautiful circles marked on them for, you know, flans and that sort of thing. This is my original mat I got 5 years ago when I started with Thermomix. It lasts. Things with Thermomix last. They're built to last. So it's a great investment to have one of these. Dough doesn't stick to it, and it's very easy to roll and shape on this mat. Anyway, coming back down to my Thermomix, I'm now being asked for 500 grams of strong bread flour. Just make sure that your scales are on 0 before you start adding things into your Thermomix. That's a trick for young players. If you're a bit slow getting the lid off, it will weigh the lid. So once again, being fairly accurate with our flour, All right, there's my 500 grams. And now 80 grams of soft butter. So I've just got it roughly chopped like that. And it is the butter and the milk, as well as an egg in this recipe, that make this dough so soft and delicious. Okay, so we're going to add 40 grams of our rosemary Parmesan mixture here. So we'll weigh that in as we go. And I do love that the scales just appear whenever I'm due to weigh something. I think that's just very intuitive and makes guided cooking so easy. Okay, there we go. Our cheese is in. And the next thing, 1 large egg. And now a teaspoon of fine salt. I'm using pink rock salt that I have ground in my Thermomix. I just grind it down to a powder. I don't know if you can see that there, but anyway, easy enough to do. There's my salt. And now once again, we're popping the lid on. Tap next, and you can see the kneading symbol here. So 5 minutes kneading time. It is a long knead. Most doughs are about 2 minutes. Sourdough's about 3 minutes, sometimes 4, but this one is 5 minutes. So I'm just going to turn the selector and we'll start kneading. The arms will lock. And I'll just show you what's going on inside. With kneading, it starts and it stops, and the dough will develop. And I'm going to leave it there and head back to Laura, because you don't need to watch my dough going around for 5 minutes.
Okay, thanks, Yolanda. It's looking good already.
Okay.
So in the meantime, I just wanted to show, because we can't actually cook every function for you this evening, I did want to show you what some of the others are. So if I head over here to my Thermomix screen, hopefully you can all see that. This is the home screen when you first turn on your Thermomix. And if you swipe over here, here are all the different modes we have. So Yolanda's already shown us the scales and the dough mode, but you've got a turbo mode here, which is like a really quick burst. And with that one, I often use that for pestos or mincing meat, or there's a really great fresh muesli I use that for. So you just select the icon and then just turn your dial. And it does a really quick burst, like a pulse. The pre-clean mode is awesome. You just choose what you've been cooking, put in some water and some dishwash liquid or vinegar, and it does a clean mode depending on what type of dish you've been cooking. And the time is always approximate, because it will kind of detect the mess that's in the bowl, and then it will just do a wash based on that. So sometimes it's a minute or two, and sometimes it's maybe up to 10 minutes, depending on how messy your bowl is. So I love, love, love the clean mode. Yeah, you've got blend, that's easy. Egg boiler mode's really cool. You put your eggs in, and then you fill the water up to the 1 liter mark, and then just choose how you want your eggs done. So, and it's roughly around 10 minutes, depending on how you want them done. But with that one, the blades don't move. So you don't need to worry that your eggs are going to crack in there before they're cooked. They're very safe in the bowl while the egg cooker just cooks for you. So I love the egg cooker mode. Kettle mode is as it sounds, but I use it because I like to cook herbal tea at 85 degrees or sometimes 80 degrees, and you get to choose that, turn it on, and then it will just tell you when it's ready. So that's always handy. Warm up's pretty cool if you've got something you're wanting to heat up. And all these modes have an info button that shows you what to do. So if ever you aren't sure how to use a mode, that info button will help you. And here's a good guide on the temperatures to use depending on what you're wanting to reheat. So super handy. They've really thought of everything here on the TM6. We are going to use thicken mode. Rice cooker mode is the absorption method of, I won't go into it, but it's just the absorption method of rice where the blades will not move. Your rice will just be cooking away in your water. Ferment mode's really great for making yogurt. Another thing we wouldn't really show you at a class because it takes so long to make the yogurt, but the temperature control in the Thermomix is just amazing, you know, to be able to choose to the degree what you're wanting to cook things at. And that's the same with sous vide mode as well. If you have a look in, you just choose, you know, to the 1 degree Celsius of what you're wanting to cook is really great. So yeah, to make your yogurt on ferment mode, or to rise dough, or make fermented veggies, slow cook is just as it sounds. On slow cook, the blades only move intermittently just to give it a stir every now and then, but other than that, they just sit still, and you can cook up to 8 hours on the slow cook mode. And sous vide, for those who haven't heard of sous vide, that's where you are cooking a protein on a really low, gentle heat in a water bath. So you fill your Thermomix with water. You can use the simmer basket, or you can use the blade cover, and you have your protein, like it's usually meat, but it can be eggs, or it can actually be fruit as well, or seafood, or whatever. I've tried a lot of things in there, and you just put it in a snap lock bag and make sure all the air's out, or you can use a vac seal bag. The mix shop does sell a vac seal bag, vacuum sealer with bags that you can use. And it's just a really beautiful, gentle way of cooking your protein so that the texture comes out silky smooth every time. And then if you want to pan fry it, you can quickly do that in the oven. When I send out the recording of this class tomorrow, you'll be able to see other classes we've done similar to this, where I do show how to sous vide and how to get the air out of bags when you're doing it if you don't have a vac sealer. So that may be handy for you as well. But yeah, so they're all the different modes of the Thermomix. And I do want to show you what happens on the other side. So that was when we swipe this way. The exciting thing for me, and this is what I love about it, is when we swipe this way, you're on Cookie Do, and you can scroll down to browse and see what's new and what's trending. If I go right to the bottom, we've got our latest collections. Did I go too far? I did. I was trying to show you quickly the latest collections. So we've got some blade cover basics, a whole new collection on different flavored butters, you know, made from scratch using fresh cream. And we recently had our new Japanese collection hit when the Olympics began. So new recipes are always coming on Cookie Do, and that's part of the beauty of it. But I'm looking at the time. Yolanda will have to give me. Okay.
I'm just looking at that new collections. That Japanese collection has katsu chicken in it.
Oh, so good.
And my lovely friend Ros Clark, who's on this Zoom tonight, she told me it was one of the first dishes she tried when she got her Thermomix. So
yes.
I had to try it myself. I made it Sunday night. It was delicious.
Oh,
really good.
So, yeah, I made it while the Olympics were on. We loved it, and I've made the okonomiyaki. And what else have we done? We've been doing sushi and Kewpie mayo. We've been doing a lot of cool things.
That's awesome. Well, my dough is finished. It is quite a wet dough. That's okay. That's how it's meant to be. Normally, I would just, I'm going to show you what I would do. Normally, I would just tip my bowl upside down and then turn the blade here, knob, and it would spit my dough out. But this dough is quite wet, so I'm just going to give it a helping hand just to pull some out. Some doughs are wet. Focaccia is a wet dough as well, a stretchy dough. Naan bread is too. But something like a pizza dough or a regular bread dough, if I just turn that base, it'll just tumble out. So there's a little bit more in the bottom. I will clear it out soon. But all I would do now is just wrap that up into a packet in my Thermomat, tuck the bits under, and I would sit that on a chopping board or in a warm space and let it to proof. When it's winter and it's a bit cooler, I grab my thermoserver and I put some warm water in there and I sit my dough packet on top. You can see how much that's grown. That's the dough I made just before the class, and that's the other one. So you can see it's well and truly doubled. So I'm going to put this one I've freshly mixed aside, and we'll continue working with the dough I made earlier in the interest of getting things done in the class tonight in a time when you can all see. we'll shape these rolls. So these rolls now, everything's been proofed beautifully. The dough does come free very nicely with my spatula off my Thermomat. Never use a regular knife on your Thermomat because it is made of layers of silicone and you don't want to cut through that. You can use your spatula to cut through, or you can use one of these dough bowl scrapers, which I like. So I'm just going to divide this into half, and then each half will become another 4, and there's going to be my 8 rolls. Now you can shape these any way you like, but I'm going to do just conventional round rolls today. So make that into half again. Move that out of the way, and then half again. And the same here. So you could plait them, you could make them scrolls, you could do whatever you like. But I'm going to just use a technique of just making a mushroom like that. And then I've got a lovely round top. And that will sit there. Do the same again here. So when we've got our 8 rolls shaped, just pinch it into a mushroom like that, and then you've got everything gathered up underneath, and that just goes underneath your roll. Produce 8 of those, and then what we'll do is we'll just give it a really light spray with olive oil spray, and then we'll sprinkle on the remaining bit of the Parmesan rosemary cheese that we have. So rather than have you watch me do all of those, I'll move this out of the way. So here they are, sitting there like that. A little bit of a quick spray. And just a sprinkle on top. What we have to do now is we have to let this rise another half an hour. So I'm going to get my oven on now. And last time I found 25 minutes was enough. Same thing, you can sit this on a warm thermoserver to allow your dough to rise a bit faster, and then we'll just bake them 15 minutes. So I'll get it going now, and I'll come back at the end and show you how it all looks. That's it for me, Laura.
Yep, that's so great. Thanks, Yolanda. Looks like a beautiful dough. I haven't made that recipe before. I'll have to give it a go.
You make them, they're completely delicious. Honestly, I'm doing 2 batches tonight. No one in this house is sorry.
I'll bet. Oh, that's really good. All right, so in the meantime, while that's rising and baking, we will go over to Sarah, and Sarah is going to show us a few different things in the Thermomix. The lovely Sarah. Here she is. Hey.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, so my name's Sarah. I'm in Laura's team in the Hills. Like Yolanda, I've been around a little while too, just under 4 years with Thermomix. So I'm going to show you a couple of things tonight. I'm going to show you a Choy Bau recipe, and whilst that's cooking, I want to show you a quick salad as well. So we're going to cover the high heat function of the Thermomix, and also then we're going to go into the other machine just to show you how effectively the machine can chop. But we're going to start here with the Choy Bau. So the first step of this recipe is actually to mince your meat. Because of lockdown at the moment, I've actually got some chicken mince which is already minced, so I'm just going to skip that step. So with all of these recipes that are guided, you can skip ahead if you like, and you can change things up as well to different ingredients. So instead of the pork, I'm actually going to use chicken mince for this one. So the first step I'm going to start on is asking me for 10 grams of sesame oil. So the machine weighs in 1 gram increments. So we just need to be really careful, especially when it's 10 grams, just to go slowly. And it's asking for 10 grams of peanut oil. And then 250 grams of the reserved mince. So I've actually got 500 grams that we're cooking, but we're only doing half at a time. So with the high heat, it's important that we follow the quantity that it asks for, just so that it browns it perfectly. I'm just going to add in half of my mince. Okay, so now it's asking me for the splash guard. So this is another accessory that comes with your Thermomix, your splash guard. And we only use that when we're using the high heat function of the machine. So we take out your measuring cup and we're going to pop on your splash guard. So we're just going to say yes, we've done that. And you'll see now that we've got like 3 squiggles. So the 3 little squiggles here shows that we're going into the high heat function. And all we need to do is just turn it once. So with this step, usually if you're going up through the speeds, you would turn up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. With this one, because it's in one of the preset functions, we just have to turn it once. You'll see that the arms are just locked into place, and it's now going to cook my mince for 7 minutes on the high heat. What it's going to do after that, it's just going to ask me to stir, add the other 250 grams and come back to it. So what I'm going to do is I'll do that step, which is 13 minutes in total, and we'll come back to this recipe after. In the meantime, we're going to nip over to this other machine, and I'm just going to show you a different recipe. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up a recipe from my weekly planner on the machine. So as Laura explained earlier, we have Cookie Dough, which is an amazing library of recipes. There's over 60,000 recipes that you can now access through your machine. You can change the filters to different languages. You can hear the sizzle. That's the sizzle of the high heat now with my mince. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to press the 3 little lines at the top, which is my menu. And I'm going to go into my week. So I've planned today to cook the Choy Bau and the 5-second salad. So this is called the 5-second chocolate light salad. It comes from the UK Cookie Dough collection. So you have access to all of the different countries' Cookie Doughs. And then on the front screen here, we have the recipe that we're going to start. And if we scroll down, we can see here how easy it is to do. So we've got difficulty easy, prep time 5 minutes. It's just 5 minutes to chop up your vegetables. And as it's called the 5-second salad, it literally takes 5 seconds to chop it. So it's super easy. But as we scroll down, so we just scroll past the ingredients, you can also see the nutrition down the bottom. So if you're interested in macros and seeing what's in your food, you can see that for each recipe that's on Cookie Dough as well. So I'm just going to come back to the top and I'm just going to click Start Cooking. Okay, so I'm going to take off my lid, and it's actually to the weight of the lid from my scale. So I just need to make sure that I press stir at each step, just to make sure we're back onto 0 before we add any ingredients in. So this is what we're making today. So lovely, fresh, and it's a raw salad. So we've got apples, carrots, capsicum, and broccoli. And I'm going to make a lovely sauce, or dressing, should I say. So it's asking first for the 200 grams of carrots. So I'm just using 2 carrots. And we're going to press next. And it's asking for 200 grams of red peppers, which is capsicums. In England, we call them peppers. And press next, and then get onto the 200 grams of broccoli. So I've already just cut these up into small florets. Pop them all in. 150 grams of apples quartered. So I've not peeled my apples. I've left the skin on. I'll just chop them up. Okay, just grab a spatula. All right, so now we're going to add 30 grams of sunflower seeds. So our scales are up again, so we're at 0 grams. I've already pre-measured this. It is 30. And now it's asking for 25 grams of olive oil. This is literally the easiest recipe. 20 grams of lemon juice. Then we've got a teaspoon of honey, 1.5 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of ground pepper. So I've got them all in the bowl. Okay, so now it's asking me to insert my measuring cup onto the mixing bowl lid. So I'm going to place that back on. So the measuring cup's here in the top. I'm going to click next. So now the machine is preset, so it's set to 5 seconds. There's nothing on the temperature because we're not actually cooking this, we're just chopping. And it wants me to turn the speed selector to speed 4.5. So there is a little line here. I know that it's a little bit of glare on my machine, but as I turn the dial around, we just hit that line or until it says 4.5. Okay, so the chimer's now on the machine alerting me that it's finished. So I'm going to click next. I'm going to take off my lid. And there you go. We literally have a beautifully fresh raw salad. Let's pop it in here and I'll show you. So if you want to change up the ingredients, you can and add whatever it is that you like to it. I find that this one lasts days as well in the fridge. So I'll have this for lunches now for a couple of days with different proteins. And there you have it. So we have our 5-second traffic light salad. So we've probably got another 7 minutes or so on the Choy Bau, Laura. So I might pass back to you and we'll come back to you once it's cooked.
Yes, that's great. Okay, I am going to be I'm going to be showing you the thicken mode and making some custard. So if I just show the screen a bit better, I am actually, so there are custard recipes. So if I went into this search bar and if I just typed the word custard, if I can find where C is. When you're upside down, it's hard to find. I normally have the screen obviously facing me and not you. But you can see all the different custard recipes that come up, and there's creme patissiere and there's, you know, I don't know, different types. I'm actually going to be using, and there's chocolate and vanilla and, oh yeah, there's so many, even more than I thought. So, but I'm actually going to be using manual mode because I have this recipe kind of in my head. I've made custard quite a few times. So I just want to show you that you can do that as well in the Thermomix. You don't always have to be following a recipe. You can just use your old traditional recipes or something out of your head, or you can just experiment. I'm kind of experimenting a little tonight because I want to treat my family to Caramilk Custard, and they love Caramilk, and we don't do treats that often, but you know, it's lockdown and they're being so good. So I'm going to be putting in some Caramilk pieces. So I actually, this is a good tip for you as well. Anytime you're going to be grating or milling in your Thermomix, you do have to make sure your bowl is completely dry. And I just remembered that I was using kettle mode earlier and I didn't. And then I thought, because I'm making custard, it doesn't matter. But now I've remembered that I'm going to be milling the chocolate. Whereas in normal custard, that's not a step I worry about. So the chocolate can go in, Caramilk chocolate. And I want to show you how you can grate the chocolate just in a few seconds. Probably enough time to grate the chocolate. And so you could grate, you know, cheese or carrot or whatever, and you can mill your own spices, and you can mill raw sugar into icing sugar. You can just mill so many things in the Thermomix. That on speed 10, that's 10,300 revs per minute. And there's our grated Caramilk chocolate. So ready, all powdered, ready for me to add the other ingredients. So the other ingredients are 2 eggs. I've already cracked them, just going in. I've got half a liter of milk. And if I did get this out because I didn't want my whole milk jug out while I was waiting for my turn, but normally you would just turn the scales on and weigh in 500 mils of milk. So you don't have to pre-measure that in any way. I am putting in 30 grams of flour. And normally in custard, you would put in a little bit of sugar. The recipe says 60 to 100. I usually stay on the 60 side. I find that's definitely sweet enough. And And normally also, and I'm tossing up because I'm kind of making this recipe up, I'm deciding whether to put some of this in. It's not Vegemite. This is my homemade vanilla paste, and the vanilla paste recipe is in Cookie Dough, and it uses sugar, water, and vanilla beans, and it cooks it and blends it, and you get this beautiful vanilla extract. It's kind of, I don't know if you can see the texture of it. It's really great. I am going to put that in because that's what I normally do in custard. I make vanilla, so I'm just putting it in. I think it will add a bit of depth of flavor into the Caramilk Custard. And when I'm making caramel, I usually put some vanilla in anyway. So as I'm making up this recipe, I get to decide those types of things. So I'm sure it would be fine without it as well. So all my ingredients are in. So all that's left to do now is go to the thicken mode, which is just there, and turn the dial. So you'll note that the time is not set. It's set approximately 10 minutes. It's going at 80 degrees, and the speed isn't set either. It's going to change. So that will speed up towards the end, or it'll just change randomly as whatever the mode just knows what to do. So I use thicken mode to make bechamel sauce, hollandaise, gravy, custard, whatever else thing, you know, that's along those same lines, you know, your cheesy white sauce. Yeah, so I love that thicken mode. So while that's going, I do want to show you another great thing you can do in your Thermomix using the high heat mode is to make toffees and fudges, and in particular I want to show you a honeycomb. So because it does take a bit of time, I have a video to show you of a pre-recording of how to make the honeycomb. So hopefully you can all see that. So you just type it in and choose the recipe, press start. It tells you what to do. So get everything ready, and we're going to be doing it on the Thermomat. Got your bicarb soda ready. And this is so cost effective, such a cost effective treat or gift if you're wanting to gift someone something homemade. Some homemade honeycomb in a cellophane bag with a ribbon is really pretty, or you could coat it with chocolate, something. But it's just sugar, water, and honey, and the bicarb soda. So there goes the honey. And you can also use golden syrup if you prefer that type of flavor. It is different. I think it's worth trying both and then deciding which one you prefer. So this cooks for 22 minutes, which is why I'm showing you in a video instead of live. But you don't need to be in the kitchen while that's going. You know, you can normally leave, but you can see how it's bubbling away at 160 degrees. The blades have stopped to cook that toffee, so it just bubbles up. And yeah, as I said, you can leave the kitchen during that time. But this is the beauty of the high heat mode, where it just, and it's also formulated. You know, on the stove, you might be there with a candy thermometer and trying to time it right, but everything in Cookie Dough is just timed perfectly and formulated to be the right temperature and the right time, which I just love. So adding in the bicarb soda, give it a few stirs, and then you do need to pour it out quite quickly because it starts to set almost instantly. And it's hot. So at this point, this is not one that I have my kids cooking in the kitchen a lot. Honeycomb isn't one I would have them be involved with for this part because that is very hot. Oh, my Thermomix is speeding up, it's getting loud. So yes, I would just pour that out myself onto the tray. You can also put it in molds if you want the honeycomb to be in a certain shape. But just sitting on a Thermomat is a really good way of setting it as well, or on baking paper, or just whatever you've got. So you see there on the screen, they're doing a clean mode. So just put in some water and it's going to cook and whoosh that water around to clean the bowl. And then it's pretty well ready. So your bowl's clean, and you do need to let that honeycomb to sit aside for just until it cools. So, and it doesn't like being in a humid environment. So just leave it out to dry and set. And then I'm going to turn the sound up so you can hear the crunch of that honeycomb. It's just perfect. And you can see how airy it is on the inside, just beautiful texture and just perfect honeycomb. So that's another feature of the Thermomix TM6 mode, is being able to use that high heat. So, and my custard still has a bit of time. I'm just wondering if Sarah, are you ready to show us something, or do you want me to keep talking? I don't know what that means.
My mince isn't quite cooked, so I've just stirred it and just needs another couple of minutes.
Yeah, no problems at all. Okay, great. So I want to show you, I started to show you cookie dough on the TM6 screen. I'd really love to show you on the computer, just to show you how awesome cookie dough is. And you can access this on the screen itself, or on the app on your phone, or on cookie dough. So yeah, it's scrolling down, I kind of already showed you, but up here in the search bar, you can type in absolutely anything. So if you wanted to give something a try you haven't tried before, like maybe you've never tried sous vide, you don't know where to start, just type in the name of the mode, and all the recipes that use that mode will come up and you can find something. You know, same if you want to use the fermentation mode and you aren't sure where to start, just have a look through. Yogurt's a good place to start. But you know, you can try some sauerkraut or kimchi. What else? You may want to cook for a party. You could just type in the word party and see what comes up. You can just type in anything into this search bar. And the main thing, you know, what people usually do is they already know what they want to cook, and you just type in the name of the recipe. But if you have, you know, you've got too many bananas in your fruit bowl, you could just type in the word banana and see what comes up. You could just type in, yeah, any ingredient you've got too much of. When I buy, you know, a whole thing of celery to make my stock, then I'm wondering what else I can do with that celery. So I'd type that word in. You can also use these filters to narrow down your search into different categories. You could put in other ingredients you want, or say you don't want something, you want to cook something that's egg-free, you can just put in the minus sign. You can put in tags such as gluten-free, dairy-free, easy, snack, you know, whatever you're wanting to type in. You can search by time, portions, ratings, and the thing down here I want to show you is that for a lot of people, the default is set to Australia. And I'm going to show you how to change that default as well. But if you can see, I've got 81 banana results for Australia, but when I put it to all English recipes, now I've got 231 recipes that have banana in it. So yeah, using the search and filters is a really good way to make the most of cookie dough. For those who are wondering how to change your default filter settings, you can come up here to your profile, and here is where you can update that filter to change that. You may be happy with it being on Australia. I'm not suggesting you do need to change that. I'm just showing you how. Yeah, so that's just a little really quick cookie dough little I don't know, ad, and we're going to Sarah because she is ready for me now.
Thanks, Laura. Okay, so my step has finished cooking the mince. So I'll just show you what we've got. So we have our chicken mince now in here. And we see our bowl got a little bit of caramelization at the bottom. It just tells us just to scrape it as we're going around, and that'll just add a little bit more flavor now to the rest of the meal. Okay, so the next step is to add in 3 garlic cloves, 5 centimeter piece of fresh ginger, peeled and cut into slices, chili flakes. I'm only going to add a little touch of chili because I want them to eat this tomorrow for their lunch. Okay. For spring onions, so I don't have any spring onions, so I'm just going to use a brown onion instead. So as I said before, you can improvise with different ingredients. You can use what you have in your fridge. Okay, so now we're going to place on our lid, the measuring cup. And it's just going to chop now for 3 seconds at speed 7. Okay, I'll just show you what we're looking like. So you see now it's chopped those onions. So you never have to chop an onion again in your life if you have a Thermomix. That's fantastic. Okay, so now we're going to add 100 grams of fresh shiitake mushrooms or brown mushrooms cut into thin slices. I'm just using brown mushrooms. Just turn my scales back to 0. There we go. Just over 100 grams. And 10 grams of peanut oil. So the oils in this recipe really do make the flavour. There is quite a few. There we go, 10 grams. And the sesame oil again. Okay, so we'll place back on our lid. So you'll see now that we've got 2 minutes. The temperature is now on here and it's 120 degrees. You'll see that the light on my machine at the minute is red, which shows that my machine is at 60 degrees or above from the previous step. Oh, it's just gone green. See now it's gone green. That means because it's dropped below the 60 degrees. But we're going to get back up to the 120. Let's see if I can tilt this just to show you. Can't really see. It's actually put it onto reverse now. So whereas before it was on the chopping function, now there's like a little spinny arrow, which is showing that we've gone into the reverse of the machine. So on chopping, our blades are on the sharp blade. On reverse, it's pushing the food around on the reverse of the blade, which is blunt. So that's what it's wanting us to do now. It's preset, so you don't have to do anything. And we're just going to turn it to speed 2. So this is now cooking at 120 degrees for 2 minutes on speed 2. Laura, do you want me to go through anything else for you?
That's okay. I can talk. My custard has just finished, so I want to show the end result of that. That was perfect timing. Thanks, Sarah. So my custard is finished. It's looking beautiful. Oh, it smells so good. And I want to show you the end result of that. Beautifully thickened. It pours great, like just, it's so smooth and silky, and you can see it's aerated at the moment too, but that's a perfect result for me. And now as that, if you wanted it thicker, you would add more flour. As you see, I only did 30 grams of plain flour because I didn't want it to be too thick. My kids don't like it too thick, but if I was filling profiteroles, I definitely would have made it thicker. But what's going to happen now is as it cools down, it will thicken more than this. This is kind of running at the moment. So I can show you the texture of that a bit later on in the class. But in the meantime, I do just want to share a few things with you. So that's our custard. Yeah, I know I kind of want to try it, but also, so this is, you'd serve it fresh with cake or just as is now if you wanted a hot custard. I'm going to be putting this in the fridge so the kids have it as cold custard tomorrow. 2 different preferences. I want to show our latest recipe book, which is Creating Something Incredible. It's our 20th anniversary here in Australia, where this beautiful family, the Mazur family, and in particular Grace, brought the Thermomix to Australia after she was visiting relatives over in Europe, and she saw the Thermomix and saw these teenagers bringing out food while the adults were sitting around chatting, and she's like, what's going on? What are your kids even doing? And that's when she you know, heard about what a Thermomix is and how these kids were able to be bringing out gourmet food. So anyway, 20 years later, we've had it here for that long. And so this book is the celebration of that. It tells her story. It's got beautiful pictures. But a lot of the recipes in this book are with collaborated recipes with chefs around Australia, or just other favorite Thermomix recipes that have been developed over time. Some of my favorites are definitely in here. Some of these recipes are on Cookie Do. I think there's about 20 recipes on Cookie Do, and the others will be on there later on in the year, like towards the end. In the meantime, they've done that because it's a really beautiful book to have in your collection of recipe books. And it's not just about the recipes, but there's, tutorials and different stories about each recipe and why they're good. And it's just a really beautiful book to have. So it's $49.99 to purchase on the Mix Shop. And when you do, you also get a $20 Mix Shop voucher to spend on other things in the shop online, like accessories that you want to use to go with your cooking. And if you haven't looked on that shop online in a while, there's so many great things on there that you'll definitely want to use that voucher on. So that's the latest book. At the moment, for anyone who purchases a Thermomix in August, this is coming free with your Thermomix. So you will get 2 books. You also always get the basic cookbook, but this month you'll get this one as well. So the other thing you will get when you purchase a Thermomix in August is our ever popular 2.6 litre round thermoserver. So the thermoserver is a double insulated stainless steel bowl that keeps your food hot or cold for a couple of hours. It is awesome, and it's quite good looking too. It's a beautiful serving dish that you can use to make ahead and keep things warm, or take sorbet to the park, or take a meal out to someone's home, or you're serving up at a barbecue or whatever. Sometimes I make a curry and I keep it in here while I'm using my Thermomix to make the rice and veggies to go on the side, or just so many different scenarios of why you would want to use a thermoserver. And normally this is only available as a host reward. It isn't, you can't purchase it. So to be getting that free when you purchase a Thermomix in August is a really great deal. So that's the promo at the moment. We do, while I'm speaking of purchasing in August, I will just let you know we have some really great payment options for the Thermomix. And the first one is that you can earn a Thermomix. So good. By spending your time instead of spending your money, you can get a Thermomix in your kitchen, by sharing how great it is with the community and being rewarded for that. Aside from earning your Thermomix, you can also become a consultant to earn money. So if you are interested in information about that, please let one of us know, let your consultant know, or let me know and I can help get you the info. We do run sessions through the week over Zoom where you can just find out what's involved, the commission structure, the rewards, everything, and then you can make a really good informed decision about whether it will work for you. For me, I love it because I be a stay-at-home mom. I have 4 children and run this business around them and around my other life, and it just fits in really nicely, and I have an income without feeling like I'm ever actually going to work, especially at the moment when we're doing everything online. It just feels seamless with the family. So that's why I'm still here, really. I've been with Thermomix for 12 years and it's been a great journey. It's a lot of fun. I could go on about it. But earning a Thermomix is one of the ways you can buy a Thermomix. We also have a 24-month interest-free plan, which works out at $24.56 per week. And there are so many ways you can save money by having a Thermomix, cutting down on groceries and cutting down on takeaway, and just, and saving all that time and health, which is also relates to saving money as well. So that $25 won't be missed out of your bank account when you have a Thermomix on your bench. Absolutely, for sure. You can also pay off your Thermomix over 3 months if you want to do it a quicker installment way, or just outright over bank transfer, credit card, PayPal, however you want to pay. And the cost to pay it outright is $2,359. So that's how you can get a Thermomix in your kitchen, and they do come by courier direct to your home, and then your consultant helps you set it up. At the moment, we're doing that over Zoom, and it's working brilliantly. I would be here kind of like tonight, but I'd be showing you how to use your Thermomix, going in the ins and outs of every button and every piece and how it all works. so that you can get it unpacked and ready to go. And it's about anywhere between 1 to 2 weeks once you order before they come, and your consultant will help you get up and running and help you have confidence in cooking. Whenever you have questions ongoing, you can call us or text us anytime. We're here to help. And most of us love talking about the Thermomix, so you don't ever have to be shy in reaching out and feel like you're hassling us, because that's not what the case is. So yes, for those of you who do already have a Thermomix, I hope you are sharing it with your friends and referring your friends onto your consultant, so that they too, the people you love need to have this greatness in their lives as well. So I hope you're sharing that with them as well. We are going to go back to Sarah for the end result. You're going to love this. Wish we were all there with you, Sarah. I bet it smells good.
It does smell really good. There's just a couple more steps, so I've just hung on just so I can show you. So all I did just then was I just re-added the mince in with my onions, garlic, mushrooms, ginger, chili, and now it's just asking me to add a few more things. So we're just going to add 15 grams of caster sugar. $20 grams of soy sauce. I'm actually using tamari sauce, which is just a gluten-free version of soy sauce. There we go. 35 grams of oyster sauce. There we go. And 15 grams of rice wine vinegar. This smells amazing. All right. Sea salt to taste. I'm not going to add any more salt to it. Okay, so just a minute 30. I'm just going to stir all these beautiful sauces in now with my chicken on reverse at speed 2. So just as Laura touched on there about becoming a consultant, I joined the business after I was an owner for a year and a half. At the time I went to a cooking class, which was in person, but similar to what we're doing now, just watching the consultants that they're having fun cooking, and I just thought, you know what, I want to be a part of it. I love my Thermomix, and I just wanted to get up there and help. So I thought, I'm going to talk to them about this. I'm very driven with incentives as well. And I don't know if you know, but as a consultant, we get first access to anything that's coming up. We can earn it through the month. So as well as commission, we earn lots of great Thermomix accessories. So it was always a thing that month I had to earn whatever the accessories was. I wanted everything. So for me, it was a fun side gig. As a busy mum, I just wanted to do something for me. So just getting out of the house and being social and sharing the Thermomix is what I loved. And along the way, getting a bit of extra cash and the Thermomix accessories was why I joined. So yeah, so I'm almost 4 years on and still here, so loving it. So if you want to join and you want to do what we're doing up here, doing these classes, we're mainly online at the moment, obviously with COVID, but we're finding that customers like yourselves are loving the Zooms, and by running them often throughout all the teams and the different consultants, we kind of share it out. So there's lots of different classes with lots of different varieties. So once you are a customer as well, there'll be lots of different classes that you can jump onto to learn more about your Thermomix. Okay, so that step's done. So it's asking me now just to scrape down the sides and the bottom of the mixing bowl to loosen. And then we transfer it into a server. Show you what they're looking like. I'm also using the thermo server here, which Laura just mentioned. I love my thermo server. When we go away, especially when we go camping, I cook pasta in it. So just place the hot water in because it keeps the food at that temperature. It cooks the pasta for you without you actually having to physically cook it. So you just place it in the water and put the lid on and it cooks. Okay, so here we have our Choy Bau minutes. This is the way that they recommend we eat it. So it's a great low carb option to place it on your lettuce leaf. So you can add bean sprouts or chili, anything like that. So this is the end product. So it took a little bit longer tonight just because we're showing you how to cook it, but it's actually quite a quick recipe to do. You're actually probably only stood at your machine for, I don't know, 2 minutes of the whole recipe. And then the other time you can go off and do other things. Okay, back to you, Laura.
Thank you. And we are actually going over to Yolanda because the rolls are ready. Are you on?
Yes,
Yeah.
my rolls are ready. Can you hear me? I'll just show you how they look. Look at that. They've puffed up beautifully. They're a good size. They're soft inside. I can open one if you like, but there they are, Laura. They're beautiful.
Looking amazing for everything. Thank you, Yolanda, for showing us that beautiful.
And a second batch ready to go in the oven.
Ah, perfect. Your family will be very happy.
They will be, and the neighbours as well. I think I'll do a contactless drop-off.
Yolanda,
Yes.
Roz is asking you to open one, please.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Okay, try not to burn myself while I'm at it.
Perfect.
They're just fluffy, and they're a good size roll. They're just soft and lovely and beautiful, and the smell in them. I don't know if any of you have made pizza bianca, but pizza bianca's got that rosemary with cheese with a bit of garlic. This has got that same lovely rosemary with cheese with that baked flavour from the bread. It's quite delicious. Highly recommended.
Thank you, Yolanda. And I will just show you now that the custard's been sitting here cooling down. I'll show you how thickened it is. Oh, can you even see it? Yeah, so that's a good custard texture there. What I normally do, or what I will do tomorrow once it's cooled and been in the fridge for a while, I will actually blend it again on speed 4 or 5, just for 5 to 10 seconds, so it comes back to this texture before serving it to the kids, or even a little bit. Yeah, so it's not hard from the fridge. It's like the store-bought where you get it and it's pouring runniness. So we have showed the knead function and high heat, and we've showed hands-free cooking and the scales and how the Thermomix cooks for you while you leave the kitchen, and the chopped salad, and we've shown you a lot of things tonight, and it doesn't scrape the surface of what the Thermomix can do. So please speak to your consultant if you have any other questions, or if you're wanting to see something particular or know about something particular, we can help you with that. A few other things I haven't mentioned yet is that if you are interested in joining as a Thermomix consultant, just at the moment for another week, I think it is, if you want to sign on, we do have half-price business kits happening. So super great value to get that business kit. It has everything you need in it to get going, and it's got way more value than the spend of it. But the other thing to let you know, if you are wanting to share how great the Thermomix is with some of your friends, is you can be rewarded for that with one of our host rewards, and you can do that online via a demo kind of like this, about 45 minutes, where we just show them how the Thermomix works, and then they can decide whether it's for them or not. Obviously, no obligation for anyone to purchase, just come check it out, see how it works, and then they can decide, and have had a bit of fun in the meantime, and at least been able to see what all the fuss is about, because everyone's heard of the Thermomix and how great it is. If you're not wanting to have a personal little group session for your host situation, you can also invite friends along to one of our cooking classes like tonight, where we've got a whole heap of people on, and you and your friends may be part of that bigger group, but you can still get a host reward for that. So super easy at the moment. Once lockdown ends, we're hoping to be able to also offer in-home cooking experiences as we have done in the past, and that's always a lot of fun too, where you can taste the food as we go. But in the meantime, virtual's working great for us. So hit your consultant up if you're interested in earning a host reward for like doing pretty well nothing, just sitting in your home on a Zoom. So Yes, what have we covered? I feel like I've covered everything, but please ask questions. We're almost done. What I would like to do is just launch a poll, if you wouldn't mind indulging us with some information. We're just wondering if you're interested in learning more about becoming a consultant, and if you tick yes, that doesn't mean you definitely want to join up, but it means you may want to find out some more info about it, and we can get you that info and then you can decide. So I'll leave that poll up for a few seconds. Cool. And then I am also interested for if anyone is wanting to host a cooking experience to learn more about the Thermomix, share it with your friends, and earn a host reward at the same time. So I'll leave that up for a few seconds. And if I'm going too quick for you and you are interested in any of these things, you can reach out to one of us. I'm going to be emailing you the recording tomorrow, so you can definitely just hit reply to that email with any other questions you have. And my last question for you all is if you're interested in investing in Thermomix, so we can get you the info about that and the payment options and how it works and all the logistics of that. So please, if you can answer that poll. So for tonight, you've been quiet in the chat, which makes me feel like perhaps we're doing just such a great job at answering all your questions before you even ask them. But I'm just, in a moment, I will end the recording, like that we are recording this tonight. So I will press stop on that and see if anyone has any other questions you want to come off mute and have a chat with us about anything. Oh, there's something I did want to show you. If anyone wants to stay on, it's not cooking, but I really want to show you one more thing in Cookie Do, because this is awesome. It's a great time saver and just help you get so organized. Super quick. Once you've found a recipe that you're wanting to cook, you can organize that recipe by pressing those three dots, and you can put it in bookmark. You can add it to a folder. You know, you can create new folders if you don't have any. You can also add it to your weekly planner. And this is what I love, you know, where you can just really get organized for the week, meal plan what you're wanting to cook, and then add it to your shopping list. I'm doing this fast just so I can just be quick tonight. But we actually run proper Cookie Do sessions where we do this very comprehensively and slowly. So you can book into one of those or ask your consultant if you aren't sure how to find any of this. But once you've organized your recipes, it comes up in your week. That's what we had for dinner tonight. And you saw me just put that in for tomorrow. But you can see my shopping list over here. When I go to show ingredients, it puts all those shopping list recipes into categories, so that while you're shopping, all the dairies together and your meats together and your veggies and your spices, so that as you're going down the aisles, it's really organized and it's all there. And before you go shopping, if you've already got something at home, just tick it off so it's not on your list. And then while you're shopping, you can have the app open and be ticking it off with your finger, so that as you're adding items to your trolley, it all goes away, and by the end, your shopping list should be empty. But if you don't want to go to the shops, this is a great time saver. There is an order ingredients button up the top. And when you press that, it only works with Woolworths at the moment because their website's sort of up to date with this technology. It just puts all your ingredients for your whole weekly plan into the shopping list, and you can change the brand they've chosen if you don't like that brand. Or say you want to buy more in bulk, you could change to be the 4-liter version of oil, or organic, or cheaper, or whatever reason you want to swap, you can do that. And when you're ready, you just press the button down the bottom that adds to your Woolworths cart, and that takes you, it will take you straight to your Woolies online account. So super awesome. You can do a free click and collect, or you can do a home delivery. And that's just such a great way of saving time and saving money and making sure you've got everything you need for your meal planned recipes and no waste, and just so great. Sorry to tack that on to the end of the class when I said we were already done, but I really wanted to show you that because I love it. But yeah, so we are done for this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I will end the recording and give you a chance to ask further questions once you can come off chat, or just write them in the text box. And thanks for all your comments. You're all saying thank you and good night. That's really lovely. Yeah, so thanks again.